Ben Carson is giving a speech at the Housing and Urban Development, and the staff is all there, and he's going to tell them about the American dream. Well, that sounds lovely. He's going to tell them about immigration. That also sounds lovely, and how they were, came here for opportunity. And then he added something in there that doesn't make any sense at all, because he's Ben Carson. Listen to the very curious remarks he made.
Not 8 hours a day, but 10, 12, 16 hours a day. No such thing as a minimum wage. They work not for themselves, but for their sons and their daughters, and their grandsons and their granddaughters, that they might have an opportunity in this land. That's what America is about. A land of dreams and opportunity. There were other immigrants who came here in the bottom of slave ships, worked even longer, even harder for less. But they too had a dream that one day their sons, daughters, grandsons, granddaughters, great-grandsons, great-granddaughters might pursue prosperity and happiness in this land.
Really, they were immigrants at the bottom of a slave ship? Now, look, if you're being super generous to Ben Carson, he said, look, the guy's a schmuck, doesn't know what he's talking about. He didn't mean immigrants, he just meant what? But okay, if I were to be generous and put the immigrant word aside, let's talk about the rest of that sentence. And they worked for far less. No, they worked for nothing, because they were slaves. He constantly misuses the word slavery. I don't think, there's some chance he doesn't know what it means. You don't work for less when you're a slave. You work for nothing. You are enslaved. It is literal. You're bound up in chains, you're whipped, and if you disobey enough, you're murdered, let alone all the other horrible things that go along with slavery. And the dream, here, let me tell you more about what he thinks the slaves were dreaming. He says, do you know of all the nations in the world, this one, the United States of America, is the only one big enough and great enough to allow those people to realize their dream. And this is our opportunity to enhance that dream. That's what America is about, a land of dreams and opportunity. It wasn't a dream for them. They didn't choose it, they were in chains. It's not like the slaves were like, hey guys, I got a dream that my great-great-great-grandchildren, after we're all enslaved and lynched and murdered and have to work for generation after generation for free and whipped and raped and all those things, and they take our kids away from us generation after generation. Then I have a dream later that somehow miraculously it will turn into a land of milk and honey for me. That's not how it happened. They didn't dream that and voluntarily become slaves. They were enslaved. He just, you know what it is, guys? It's that conservatives are missing the most important thing, if you ask me, about humanity, which is empathy. Now you would think Ben Carson's black, can't he have empathy for other blacks? No, it's a temporal issue in this case. He didn't live in that time. So that was their problem, not his problem. That was his great-great-grandfather's problem, not his problem. Sorry, Grandpa, they enslaved you and moved your kids around and raped your wife and all that. So, hey man, thanks for the dream. There was no dream, it was a nightmare. It was a total and utter nightmare. Stop treating it like it was some sort of thing that was bestowed upon Africans. That's not how it worked. How much do you want to excuse all the horrible things that happened, Ben Carson? Why? Because his benefactors love it. This is why they pay him money for his speeches and for his books. There's, good black man telling us slavery was just fine. Then he realizes, I'm in trouble, I'm not playing well. He changes it a little bit, comes out and says, well, slaves came here as involuntary immigrants. Well, that's a new phrase. They love to invent new phrases, and they're involuntary immigrants. In fact, he's gonna go on with his buddy Armstrong Williams and try to clarify.
I think people need to actually look up the word immigrant. It's whether you're voluntary or involuntary. If you come from outside to the inside, you're an immigrant. Whether you're legal or you're illegal, you come from the outside to inside, you're an immigrant. Slaves came here as involuntary immigrants, but they still had the strength to hold on.
Okay, I'm not sweating the word immigrant. what I'm sweating is that you don't understand how slavery worked. But don't worry, I'm sure everybody's comforted by the fact that they're not slaves anymore. It's not torture, it's enhanced interrogation. It's not slavery, it's involuntary immigration. Okay, he now realizes, that wasn't enough either. Then he goes on Facebook and posts this. Says slaves were ripped from their families and their homes and forced against their will. After being sold into slavery by slave traders, the immigrants made the choice to come to America. The two experiences should never be intertwined nor forgotten. So obviously Ben Carson did not write that, because Ben Carson, the real Ben Carson, you heard for yourself. You saw him in the video, you saw him in the interview. This is what a PR person wrote and said, hey, Ben, knucklehead, you idiot. Slavery was a bad thing. It wasn't just involuntary immigration. They didn't do it because they thought there was opportunity. They did it because they had no choice. So I'm going to write this for you because you're so goddamn stupid you can't figure it out. And then I'm going to put it on your Facebook page so that we can try to end this controversy that you needlessly started. Now, to give you a sense of further why he doesn't understand slavery, remember his past comments. Here's what he had said about Obamacare. He said, Obamacare is really, I think, the worst thing that has happened in this nation since slavery. And it is in a way, it is slavery in a way, because it is making all of us subservient to the government, and it was never about healthcare, it was about control. Yeah, I remember the other day when I went to Obamacare and it whipped me, and it took my kids away. Come on, man, just have some sense of decency. I know, you want to sell books and you want a big government post so you can get your name out there more, so you can do that lecture circuit, and instead of charging $10,000, $20,000 a speech, you want to charge $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, and boy, it plays well in the right-wing circles, right? Come on, don't worry about slavery and the how it has cascaded throughout history and led African Americans in a situation where they're greatly disadvantaged. No, that's just them crying. Boo-hoo, slavery. No, you're right. Obamacare is just as bad. Oh, the Obamacare that costs you like 1.4% extra in taxes? Slavery. Let's put some watchers on the wall. Investigative journalists to run down the Trump administration and the establishment. You can make that happen. TYTnetwork.com/go.